Good night, my sweet prince. We'll always have that 2 kickoff return touchdown game against the New England Patriots back in 2022 to remember you by. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jaguar9 representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about Buffalo Bills running back Nyheim Hines, the man who was acquired from the Indianapolis Colts during the 2022 season in that trade for Zach Moss. It looks like Hines is no longer going to be a member of the Buffalo Bills come the 2024 season, according to all indications. Adam Schefter put out a tweet on Sunday that said as follows: Bills plan to release running back / return specialist Nyheim Hines this week. Per source, Hines most likely will be back for training camp from the ACL injury that he suffered last summer, per source. Remember that in the 2023 offseason, Hines suffered a bad injury in a jet ski accident where he tore his ACL and his LCL. Now, we got a report from General Manager Brandon Beane during the post-season interviews after that loss in the divisional round to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he talked about Hines and his recovery status and everything. And being said all that, I don't have like a timeline to say he's going to be cleared, but I would see him being cleared by training camp. I'm not a doctor, and I haven't gotten any clarity, but just knowing when he did it, I don't know what his participation would be like in OTAs yet. Being said, yes, Hines will be a part of the team moving forward, but the fact that he didn't really have anything concrete, he had no idea what exactly the injury recovery was going like, that's not a good sign. And I know Beane said that Hines is going to be back with the team, but that was a month and a half ago, and a lot has changed since then. Mainly the fact that the Bills have no cap space to work with. They have minus $41 million in cap space. That is by far the fewest cap space in football. Most teams are in the positive with about a week left to go before the start of the new league year. For some perspective, the second worst team in cap space is the Miami Dolphins. They have $10 million more than the Buffalo Bills do. The Bills have to cut cap somehow, and cutting Hines makes a ton of sense, which is why he won't be back with the team in 2024, barring a complete miracle. Right now, Hines is carrying a cap hit of $5.16 million. If you cut him, yes, there's $500,000 in dead cap, but you do save $4.5 million by letting him go. There's no reason that he should be on the roster next year under this current contract. He's going to be 28 years old next season, coming off a bad injury, a torn ACL and LCL, that's tough for players to bounce back from, where the general manager isn't even sure of how he's going to progress. He thinks he's going to be back for training camp, but doesn't know anything else about the offseason. It doesn't make sense for Hines to be on the roster. He's got the 10th highest cap hit of any running back in football. Let me repeat that. The 10th highest cap hit of any running back in football. Here's the top 10. One of these things is not like the other. You look at all the running backs carrying a cap hit over $5 million. Everyone else is a 3-down running back and a bona fide starter. Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints, he's the starting running back. Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers, he's the starting running back. Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns, starting running back. Christian McCaffrey, starting running back, and way more than that. Jonathan Taylor, starting running back. James Conner, starting running back. Joe Mixon, starting running back. David Montgomery, starting running back. Miles Sanders was expected to be that. He was signed to be that, but the Panthers are kind of a joke of a franchise. That contract hasn't worked out, but that's the role that they brought him on for. Hines is not supposed to be the 3-down back. He was never supposed to be the 3-down back. Everyone else that carries a cap hit like that at running back, an insanely high cap hit, is. The average number of carries for those other 9 running backs over the past 2 seasons, 403, so about over 200 a season. Hines' total carries over that stretch, 25. 25 total carries for Hines over the past 2 seasons. Obviously, he didn't carry the ball in 2023 due to that ACL and LCL injury. So to carry a $5 million cap hit doesn't make a ton of sense. He can be used as a receiving back, but so can James Cook. James Cook can absolutely do that. He had 44 receptions last season, 52 if we count the playoffs, and Hines hasn't had more than 40 catches in a season since the 2020 season back when COVID was a thing. They might be saying, well, Hines' value isn't really as a 3rd-down back, as a receiving back, as a rushing back, but really as a kick returner, as a return man. First off, you're not paying $5.1 million in cap hit to a return man, especially with the way that kickoffs are being phased out. I have no clue what the state of the kickoff is going to be. No one knows. All we do know is that there were a higher rate of touchbacks than ever before. 13 kickoffs at the Super Bowl a month ago, and all 13 of them resulted in touchbacks. But even if you want to say, okay, Hines can be used as a return man, so can Deontay Hardy. You have Deontay Hardy, he can absolutely do that. He was 5th in yards for punt return during the 2023 season at 12.4 yards per punt return. So there really is no need for Hines to be on the Bills, especially with that $5.1 million cap hit, and especially coming off of that devastating injury that he might not be able to bounce back from. Since 28 years old, you're usually not in the prime of your career anymore at running back, and especially coming off a torn ACL and an LCL. Now, it's not to say that the Bills don't have a need at running back. Obviously, they do. They need to draft a backup running back. There really is no one else on the team besides James Cook who you can reliably give the rock to, especially since Damian Harris, who also got hurt last season, is a free agent. You don't know what his status is going to be heading into 2024, and he's not under contract, but you can do it for way cheaper than a $5 million cap hit. A rookie, you draft him around 3, 4, 5, something like that. He's going to cost you about $1 million under that in cap space. Nyheim Hines, $5 million for a guy that is past his prime, coming off an injury, and is not a 3-down back. Yeah, it makes no sense for him to be on the roster. So this really should not come as a surprise to anyone that this team behind me right here, the Buffalo Bills, will be moving on from Nyheim Hines for the 2024 season. Don't expect him to be on the roster by the start of the new league year. Now, the whole point of this video is to talk about Nyheim Hines and the Buffalo Bills cutting him and why that makes a ton of sense. However, I do want to say that in terms of possible future destinations for Hines to play in 2024, if he is healthy and he is good to go, I honestly think the Jacksonville Jaguars could be a destination for him. Trent Baalke loves his veteran free agent running backs. You look at Chris Thompson in 2020. You look at Carlos Hyde in 2021. You look at Dearness Johnson in 2023. The Jaguars do like to sign a veteran free agent running back, and they do need to have a third down pass catching back because Travis Etienne, you can't have him playing every single rep. And Doug Peterson said that he wants to cut back on Etienne's reps to preserve his health. And Tank Bigsby, the other running back on the team, he has not been a reception back. He's not a receiving back. Never has been, never will be. Never had over 200 yards receiving at Auburn. And this past season with the Jaguars only had one catch on quite a few balls thrown his way. I mentioned Austin Eckler as a possible free agent target for the Jaguars, but I think Nyheim Hines could make a lot of sense too. Even though he is coming off the injury, hasn't stopped Trent Baalke from drafting guys off torn ACLs before and signing guys off of torn ACLs before. That seems like the Trent Baalke special. So I could see Nyheim Hines going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, since I do have to talk about the Jags, since it is a JG9 video. But what are your thoughts on the Hines cut? Where do you think he winds up next season? Do you think that Hines-Moss trade, who do you think won that trade? Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments down below. And that's going to do for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar Gamer 9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar Gamer 9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.